The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And a good Thursday morning to you, one and all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastics all across the globe. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live this Thursday morning. Here it is, July number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017, as we march on deep into the month of July and summer in many parts of the northern hemisphere. It's winter down below the equator in the southern hemisphere, by the way. Just in case people don't know. The call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. That is a number that you're going to get to utilize all morning long. It is also Military Tribute Thursday. We have a wonderful tribute this morning about a man and actually I was thinking the reason why I chose this one this morning is because he's a Gen Xer, basically my generation, and there is a one that I'll probably read next week that I have is about a female, a whack. Yes, we do females here, too. You don't have to be a male in order to be a military hero. It's a WAC, right? You know, the Women Air Corps, I think is the Women Army Air Corps, you know, from World War II. But anyway, so we have interesting about this person. But this morning we have one, it's for I chose him because he was my generation, Generation X. And at first I thought it was somebody I knew. And then I realized it was a different person because he was, well, we'll get into it. This person is an only child, and the person that I knew by this name, my age group, was not an only child. He had many brothers and sisters. So so I was kind of like taken aback when I first saw the name. But in any case, we also have the military song this morning for you to listen to, and you know, just all the military report later this morning in the third hour. All things military to give tribute, show tribute to those who actually serve. You know, this whole CNN thing, CNN will not learn their lesson, but this is something that has just gone completely off the rails. I have never seen anything like this. I have never seen a backlash against an entire quote-unquote news organization as I have seen against CNN. Never. This is unprecedented. This is totally new territory. In all this while the president is in Poland and then off to Germany for the G20 summit. By the way, it seems wherever this guy goes, and I mean President Donald J. Trump, wherever he goes, we hear all this stuff. Well, Europeans don't hold him in high regard. Wherever he goes, the man gets a crowd like you would not believe and a welcome like you would not believe. You would think that this is Barack Hussein Obama all over again. I mean, Trump is a rock star in Europe without acting like being a rock star like Obama did. The accolades that he is getting from the people as well as the government. Now we hear this thing, that he might sneak into England one late at night, but the word is, and I know it's all over the place. The word is that Theresa May, Prime Minister May, is not thrilled that Trump will be coming. And that some people in Parliament in England has asked the Queen, I guess the invitation is coming from the Queen, has asked the Queen to rescind her invitation, and she told them to go, all of them to go pound sand. That she was impressed with this American and she wanted to meet him. Now, I don't know if any of that kind of stuff is true, but this is what the British tabloids, and there's one thing I've learned about British tabloids. British tabloids of late have been more accurate, more truthful, and more honest than mainstream American media. That's pretty sad. So if a British tabloid is saying that the Queen is telling Parliament and Theresa May to go pound sand when it comes to Donald Trump, I kind of believe him. Well, our press isn't reporting that because that would mean a win for Donald Trump, and they can't do anything or say anything positive about Donald. All this wonderful stuff that we're getting out of Europe, whenever he goes to Europe, is usually coming from that country's main media. In our country, our media just happens to pick it up. They don't want to pick up all that positivity, if you will, but there it is. These people were lining the parade route, basically. It was after midnight there. And they were up waving American and Polish flags in solidarity. I got to tell you, this is not something, I don't think Obama got this kind of accolades at 12:30 a.m., and this is something that the left just cannot stand. They cannot have it. They try to portray Trump as being this big boob that nobody in the world actually likes, that we made a mistake by letting him be elected, and that he's an embarrassment to everywhere he goes. And the problem is that none of that narrative actually fits the reality on the ground wherever Trump goes, including here in the USA. And this is why... This is why CNN is being targeted so. I think there are people that are just, frankly, they are beyond fed up with the lamestream media here in the US of A. And people are tired of CNN just making stuff up. And when the president actually fights back, which is also unprecedented. I've said this before. We're in a whole new era. This is a whole new ball game, boys and girls. This is well, not really. See, the one thing we've got to understand and realize is that this is actually we've come full circle. Now, the founders back in the day, they would not be construed as being very presidential today. They wouldn't. The first 50 years of this country or so, when you had the original founders of the country still alive and helping to run the government, none of them who were president or who were in the Senate or the Congress, none of them would have been construed as being today's presidential erudite leaders. Not by today's standards. And that's simply because they didn't care about what, all this pomp and pageantry. Look, they were familiar with it because they dealt with all the, royalty of the day, because that's all there was in Europe when this country was formed. Every place had royalty, kings and queens and courts. They understood what that crap was about. And even though they had to deal with it diplomatically, they didn't want any part of it. So they weren't going to be a bunch of phonies and royal, erudite, diplomatic BSers. They were just going to tell it like it is. Now, of course, they were kind of very eloquent in the way they said. It's amazing. You could read some of the stuff that the founders have said in their speeches and in their letters, and they could tell you off, but in a very polite manner. It was wonderful. You ever read some of these? I mean, they could undress you up and down. Just read you the riot act, but it all sounded so great. Well, by today's standards, it sounds like they were very polite. But trust me, in those days, when they lit into you, you knew it. This is why I also say these people talk about, how civil political discourse used to be. I mean, these people did not have civil political discourse. There were a number of times that they went to fisticuffs and even pistols at 20 paces. They were deadly serious about their politics in the day. There was no civil discourse back then. The only reason why we think it's civil is because of Old English, I guess is what they call it. They seem like they sounded so civil and so prim and proper. But trust me, they got down and dirty, man. So there was no such thing as Donald Trump is one of them, basically. He doesn't take any crap. Do you think George Washington took crap? Do you think Thomas Jefferson, John Quincy Adams, John Adams, Madison, you think any of those guys took any crap? Of course not. And then what do we get? We get modern day. We get George H.W. Bush. And then we get his son, George W. Bush. They're being so very presidential by not responding to the media. Oh, bull crap. I can't tell you how many people who supported W. Bush just wish he would have just once stood up for himself. This false notion of what it is to be presidential is to stay above the fray. Oh, stop being so freaking erudite. You're not that important. Rod, you just said the president is not that. No, when it comes to that kind of stuff, no, they're not. What do you think? They're godlike? They're not. They need to come back down to earth, realize that they're human beings, and that they are allowed to defend themselves to move their agenda forward. Bush didn't do that. By the way, Obama did. He didn't stand by and let people attack him. He often responded, but he was considered presidential. So I guess if you're a Republican, to be presidential is to not respond to any attack at all, like G.W. Bush didn't, like he did. Or you got to be a Democrat in order to respond. Well, Trump has thrown that all on its head, and CNN is suffering for it. They brought it on themselves. They really did, and this whole I love this whole thing that they thought they were gonna take down this person who created this meme. Evidently, they've doxed the wrong person. The person that they claim that created the meme evidently didn't create the meme. So the wrong person apologized. I don't know if it's true, but it's out there. And CNN can't hide from it. But the whole notion is that they thought that they got to somebody. And just don't you ever do that again. And instead of taking care of that problem, because they didn't like the meme of Donald Trump bashing a CNN logo in WWE format, they thought that they got rid of that kind of stuff. All they did was create a flood. I have never seen so many memes of this kind in my entire life. It was a total fail on stopping additional memes. There's one person I follow that I have followed on Twitter for quite some time. That guy alone created 20 new memes, GIFs. 20 new gifts. I don't know where he found the time. He just created 20 new gifts bashing CNN. It didn't work. It did well. Yeah, that's what that's what people get. Oh, good grief. Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll start taking your calls. Don't go anywhere, folks. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shea brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
(603-835-3226). Welcome back. Glad you are here with me on this Thursday morning, this military tribute Thursday morning. We will get to our tribute song in just a second. Let's go to the phones right now. Let's take a call. 731, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. Good morning, darling.
Hey,
happy
4th. It was a good one. I'm doing good and hope you're the same. What I wanted to say was, you know, it's sadly, our president has to go on a world stage to spread his message. And this is something you were just talking about. Otherwise, it's totally ignored by the mainstream media. And, here you got the Poland, they get it. I mean, look at the support. I mean, it was like, I was just in awe of the people that were there because they know. They remember history. Well, our schools have managed to remove all history. accept what they want to fit their agenda. And, you know, it reminds all of us what's at stake here. Number one, our freedom, democracy, safety, civilization. I mean, to hear an American president basically stand up and say that our sovereignty, our civilization is at risk. How can that not just make everyone cringe? I don't think they understand what he's saying, or they hear Chris Como grasping to criticize him. It doesn't matter, you know, he could say the Lord's Prayer and they're going to say he didn't say it loud enough or he said it wrong. And I don't even care. They're irrelevant. But
this is all because they have this narrative in their mind that Donald Trump is some boorish, nightmarish, non-politician that doesn't. The left has come to believe that they're the only people who can rule this land and this world are a bunch of trained, erudite, overly educated, leadership class kind of people. They actually, without even admitting it, they believe that there are two classes of people. And there is the so-called erudite leadership class, like the equivalent of kings and queens in their court back in the day, and the rest of us. And that if you are, unless you have gone to some erudite school that they approve of, you can't. I know Trump went to Wharton School of Business, but that doesn't count for them. Doesn't count to them. He's just a billionaire. He's boorish. He's never been an erudite type of billionaire. Like Warren Buffett says, well, I got to when I die, I hope the government takes 90% of my wealth and redistributes it around. And he's not a globalist. Yeah, he's not a globalist. So of course he's not erudite enough. He's not well educated enough. He doesn't.
He's not stingy enough. He's not stingy, and he's not all about himself. He's trying to get a baby in the United States that they can't take care of. No, he doesn't have the agenda of stripping us of every freedom we have. So in other words, he's not part of their underground world. Is that what I'm trying to hear?
Yeah, he's not a part of their cabal. He's not a part of their cabal at all. And with that said, he's also not part of, and that's on the left. But with that said, he's also not part of that type of cabal on the right. He doesn't fit. He doesn't play the game that the right plays.
He plays like me and you. He screws up. He speaks off the cusp. He speaks what's in his heart. He speaks on intuition, what he sees coming at him. And that's his defense. He's trying to defend us. As he said today, do we have enough respect for our citizens? I believe he's speaking to the higher ups, to protect our borders. Do we have the courage to preserve our civilization in face of those who subvert to destroy it? Yeah. We must fight for our family, our freedom, our country, and most of all, our God. Now, to me, I want to know who has the nerve to speak what comes out of their heart and soul and what they know is right. Nobody but Trump.
Yeah, this is what they cannot stand or abide by, because that's not what they do. They always tell you what they think you want to hear instead of the absolute truth. I got to take this break, darling. Can you hold on for a minute?
Okay, and I do want to say thank you to our military, and I think that they are the most courageous, God-fearing, best people in our country. And I thank them all and thank the families, and God bless them, and God bless you.
Thank you, darling. Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll be back, folks.
Okay.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Six 603-835-3226. Welcome back. Glad you are here this Thursday morning. I do believe that tomorrow, late tomorrow, sometime in the second or third hour, the Rev Rod may be showing up again and giving an appearance here in the Bunker Eye studio. Now, for those of you who don't know who Rev Rod is, I think the last time he was here, he really brought down the house. I mean, it was just everybody went out the door on a Friday, high, basically. Just high on the Lord, as he would say. But anyway, so tomorrow he may be here tomorrow, which is always a good thing to have the Rev Rod in the house. And of course, tomorrow is obviously Open Mic Freedom Friday. Just about anything goes. But this morning we are continuing with Military Tribute Thursday, and we get things started off this morning with this tribute song to our military personnel called Liberty. And it's kind of apropos, considering that I was just speaking about the founders and how they conducted their business back in the day. And we would not consider the vast majority of them today to be, leadership quality or acting presidential. So I don't know what that really is other than acting erudite, thinking that you're smarter than everybody else. So other than that, I don't know what acting, you're just a human being. We've got this stupid notion of what a president's supposed to act like. No, how about being a human being? Well, he's supposed to be better than us, right? Well, no, not really. He's supposed to be one of us. Do folks realize that? The President of the United States is supposed to represent the best of what we have to offer, but he's still supposed to be one of us. Plain and simple, he's not supposed to be somebody completely and totally and utterly removed and different from us. That would be a king or queen or emperor or potentate. They simply get to rule because they were born into the right family. That's not how we choose presidents. It's not because they were born into the right family, be they Roosevelt or Kennedy or Clinton or Bush. I mean, give me a break. We don't have a House of Lords. We don't have a king and queen. We don't have a royal court in this country. George Washington made clear that would never happen. And he did it by rejecting the notion that he should be king. We just fought against the king. We don't want this kind of crap. The person who leads this country, the man that leads this country, now understand it was only men back then. The man that leads this country, according to the founders, should be a God-fearing man who is the best that we have to offer. One of us. That's it. Nothing special. Really. Just one of us. There's no such thing as somebody having presidential experience unless they've already been president. Nobody's raised and taught how to do the job. Nobody. And if they claim that they are, then that means that they're extremely erudite and they think that they're part of the ruling class, and that's not who we want to serve. Not as our president, not as a senator, not as a congressman, not as a governor. Anybody who thinks that they were, I went to school, I was raised, I was trained since day one to be governor and to be president. Oh, bullshit. Go away. You're exactly the kind of person that we don't need to be in leadership. It's supposed to be just average, everyday American citizens who are responsible enough and educated enough to understand the needs of the people, the Constitution, and how to get things done. It doesn't take a special education and doesn't take, you don't need to go to the St. Paul school here in Concord, a boarding school. You don't need to go to Phillips Exeter Academy, and you definitely don't need to go to any, you don't need to be a Rhodes Scholar, and you don't need to go to any foreign exchange program overseas and go to school in Switzerland and in Norway and all that kind of crap. All you need to do is get a real education here, understand the Constitution, and talk to the people of your district, of your community, and understand what they're looking for, what they want, what their needs are, and then addressing those needs, becoming a leader in your community. Becoming through act and deed, not through books and knowledge. That's what liberty is all about. It's about everyday people. It's about you or your next door neighbor paying attention and having the wherewithal to rise to a level through their own determination and hard work. Not because they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or because they fit some sort of stereotype like Obama did. I mean, that man got used like you would not believe by the left. Why do you think he was so angry? You think Obama was Obama, I said this before, Obama's not a stupid man. He's not stupid. He realized he got used by certain white people. That's why he disliked them so. He did. I'm sorry. He turned on half of his own DNA. Obama does not like white people. And he did not and does not like white people because of what they did to him on his rise in politics. And that's strictly due to what the left did to him, not the right. But he took it out on everybody. Some people may say, well, Rod, you can't say. Yes, I can say that. Obama was a racist, bigoted president. He hated white people. He hated himself for being half white. And it's all because of what white people in the liberal Democratic Party did to him on his rise to power. They used the hell out of that man, and he knew it. So look, he could have. I'm not giving him an excuse for being the way he is. He could have turned that experience and did a lot differently with his life and his beliefs than he did. But he chose the path that he took. Regardless of what people did to him, Barack Hussein Obama chose to stay on the path that he was on. Period. But understand, that man does not like white people. Now, for some of you, that may come as a shock. But I'm telling you right now, he married a woman who also doesn't like white people. Oh, she's proud for the first time in her entire life. She's proud of her country. After we elected Barack Hussein Obama. Michelle Obama didn't like white people either. And why the hell do you think they hated the Clintons so much? Because the Clintons were nothing but Southern cornbread white people. The very kind of people that the Obamas hated the most. That's why Bill Clinton said this was a fairy tale. Because, Bill Clinton was shocked. I love black people. He's going to play the race card on me? Are you kidding me? He played the race card on you, Bill, because he didn't like you because of the color of your skin. Because he saw you as one of those good old Democratic Southern white people who use people of color. Which you did, by the way. It's why he didn't like you. He didn't like people people that were similar to you. He didn't like either. And, some people may have never heard this before, but look, in this program, I give you nothing but the truth. And I'm telling you the truth is that Barack Hussein Obama despised the white people of this country. Despised them. Why do you think he never talked about his mama? And when he did talk about his grandmother, it was in a disparaging way. He hated himself for being half white. So just go back and look it up. Just pay attention to what he said, what he did, when he did it. The man hated white. And if you look at the people that he surrounded himself with in the early days, they used the hell out of him. And he knew it. That's why he didn't like the Clintons. Because they were white. It had nothing to do with anything else. I mean, anyway, let's get on to the tribute song this morning entitled Liberty. Enjoy.
Without fear to find the truth, we can lift our eyes to heaven and believe in the God we choose. Liberty, reaching out to the world, her flags of freedom unfurled. Liberty, together we will be forever. Can sing out loud our own song and know we have the right to be wrong. We can soar like an eagle in blue and endless skies, and all throughout our journey never compromise. Liberty, reaching out of freedom unfurled. Liberty, together we will be forever proud and free. And we all share a dream that will never die. Someday everyone will hold their heads up high.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Six 603-835-3226. Welcome back. It is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live from the Bunker I studio this Thursday morning. Glad that you are here. Let's get into today's fascinating fact of the day. In 2014, individual Americans gave more than $258 billion US to charity, more than twice the amount given by corporations and foundations combined. I want to add, by looking, this is just a single fact, but I want to add that out of that $258 billion, 83.5, according to sources, 83.5% was donated, of that $258 billion was donated by those right of center, who identified with being right of center. 83% of that 250. Where are the wonderful liberals who want to give everything? Well, they want to give everything that belongs to somebody else. They want to give all of your money to somebody else, not any of theirs. Remember when the embarrassment that the Bidens had in their first year in office, when it was revealed how little they gave. It was like 0.1% or something of their income. It was ridiculous. Well, they're the ones out there running around talking about how the rest of us need to pay our taxes because nobody wants to give. And you got a bunch of, people who are right. And I'm not even going to call them Republicans, just right of center. They could be moderates who are right who identify as being right of center. And they give all this money to people both in the USA and around the world. We've given trillions of dollars away since the 60s. Trillions. Voluntarily. Through charity. And yet we're considered by the left to be stingy, mean, and cruel. Are you kidding me? That's not even including our tithing to our local church, folks. You know, a lot of these stats when they talk about charity, they don't consider tithing to your church as charity because they don't consider your church unless it's for specific things within the church, if missions or something like that. But otherwise, just giving to your church, tithing to your church 10% or whatever your tithe is not construed as being charity. Because your church or religion is not construed to be by these wonderful people on the left as being a charitable organization. It's religion. Religion is not charitable, according to the left. Well, just thought you'd like to know. So in 2014, individual Americans gave over $258 billion to charity. More than 83% of that was given to people who identify as being right of center. I mean, let's just round it down, 20%, 80%. That means they only gave 20 liberals, those who identify as left of center, only gave 20% of that $258 billion. 20%. More than 3/4 came from the evil, stingy right-wingers. I'm just saying. And less than 1/4 came from the all-wonderful, all-knowing, all-loving, all-giving leftists. That's just funny. Anyway, that's just good. Well, it's not good stuff, but that's just the way they want to play things, I guess. Did you hear what Lindsay Lohan said? I know this is you're probably thinking this is something that should be done on Friday, but no, Lindsay Lohan was actually out there defending President Trump. I know it's Lindsay Lohan, but for crying out loud, I mean, if Lindsay Lohan can get it, don't you think that the rest of Hollywood should be able to get it? Lindsay Lohan defends President Trump, and she says, stop bullying him and start trusting him. I don't know. Is she on meds? I don't know, but she's obviously still on them. If she is taking them, she's on them. So Lindsay Lohan tweeted out support for Donald Trump over the long July 4th holiday weekend, urging people to stop bullying the president. On Monday, the actress replied to a tweet with a screenshot of a Breitbart article about Trump's willingness to help Charlie Gard, a baby in Britain whose parents are unable to afford to keep him on life support. This is our president, Lohan tweeted. Stop bullying him and start trusting him. Thank you personally for supporting the USA. I got to tell you, I was a little speechless. I know it's Lindsay Lohan, and she's not exactly the poster child of who you'd put up as the poster child for Donald Trump's support. But at the same time, it's Lindsay Lohan, who is not a poster child of anything, except maybe you would have thought she was a poster child of liberalism. But anyway, yeah, she's behind. Stop bullying the president and support him. I'm with Lindsay on this one.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back, hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show as we get things moving along this Thursday morning, July number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number is 603-835-3226, is 603-835-3226. Of course, you can utilize that at any time of the day today. Today is Thursday, which makes it Military Tribute Thursday, and we have a tribute coming up a little bit later this hour that y'all should enjoy. Well, I wouldn't say, it is enjoyable. It's kind of a more of an uplifting one. It won't tug at your... I have one here that I just don't think I can. I will definitely get to it probably later this month. But there's a tribute that was sent in that, I mean, it's how can I put it? It will have you in tears. Those are tough for me to read on the air for you. They really are. And that story needs to be told too, and it will be told. But sometimes it's just hard to thank you folks for sending in your tributes. We're starting to get a number of them, and we may expand the tribute day to more than one, the tribute being read to more than one per tribute day. If we keep getting these numbers coming in, yes, we've had to reject some because there's some I didn't believe. It's come on, people, be truthful with them. But if you have a tribute for a fallen, a deceased military veteran, it doesn't matter how long they served, as long as they served. Please send that to rod@rodeccles.net. Put in the headline is tribute. If you need information of the guidelines about how to write it, well, just pay attention to the tribute that I'll tell you about later this morning, or just simply ask for guidelines. But in the heading, guidelines, and we'll send you the guidelines for the tribute. But send all tributes to rod@rodeccles.net and put tribute in the headline. And we appreciate that. We're glad that people are finding this to be informative for them. And we're going to continue this. I was kind of wondering if I'd be able to actually do this, or if enough people would send in tributes, and would it be a regular feature? And it looks like it's going to be a regular feature. So continue sending in those tributes. We've got enough. Well, I mean, of all the people that are still alive today that know of people that served, and we're only getting to one a week, so that's only 52 a year. Not even 52 a year, because we take time off for holidays that land on a Thursday, and of course Christmas. So at max, we're doing 50 a year out of I don't know, millions of people who serve. So, and that's just even today. So, doing our little bit here to thank those who did serve. This from the mirror.co.uk. Vatican police break up gay orgy. Excuse me, at home of one of Pope Francis's advisors. Now, the flat that this took place in belonged to the Holy Office, which is in charge of tackling sexual abuse among the clergy. Now, when I saw this, I'm like, wait, what? This is a joke, right? This is from The Onion? No, this is from the rather serious mirror.co.uk. Vatican police have broken up a gay orgy at the home of the secretary to one of Pope Francis's key advisors. It has been claimed the flat belonged to the Vatican's Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, or Holy Office, which is in charge of tackling sexual abuse among the clergy. Reports in Italy claim that the occupant of the apartment is the secretary to Cardinal Francesco Coco Palermo, a key aide to the 80-year-old Pope. Now, Coco Palermo, Coco Palermo, Coccopalerio, heads the Pontifical Council for Legislative Text, and was said to have once recommended his secretary for a promotion to bishop. The claims about the police raid last month were made in the Italian newspaper Il Fatto Quotidiano. I can't speak Italian. Quotidiano, that's here. Quotidiano. I never claimed I could speak different languages. Although I do know a little Greek, but I could never get the Italian language down. The flat involved is a short distance from the Vatican itself, according to the paper. Neighbors became suspicious before complaining about irregular behavior of those coming and going at the flat. So when police showed up, they reportedly found drugs and a group of men engaged in sexual activity. It is the latest scandal to hit the Vatican and comes after its finance chief, Cardinal George Pell, was charged with historical sexual offenses. I'm not Catholic. Let me put that out there. I think it's past time that the Catholic Church got rid of its traditional doctrine that priests cannot be married. There's nothing biblical about it, by the way. This all came about in the Dark and Middle Ages because the Church, the Catholic Church, owned a lot of land, and the way land was passed down was through marriage. And the church was, this is historical fact, folks. The church was afraid that it would lose its land if wives, poor wives, were to challenge in courts across Europe that they were married to their husband was the actual owner of the property of the church, and thus they should have it. And folks, I'm not kidding. This is the real reality of why priests could not marry after a certain point, because of the way land, land was wealth back then. It still is kind of wealth, but that's basically all. If you own land, you were wealthy beyond a lot of land, you were wealthier beyond belief. And so in order to keep the church land and church wealth from being disseminated amongst the paupers, as it were, they couldn't have church leaders be married. Therefore, there'd be no challenge to if when a priest died, there'd be no challenge to the authenticity or the ownership of the church land. Yeah, and that's the reality of it, folks. So it's not something biblical. It was out of church self-preservation, good or bad. That's the way it was. But we have long since gotten away from that type of a system. And so therefore, the whole notion of having priests that should not and cannot be married, they're married to God, is an old-fashioned notion that is no longer relevant in today's society. So instead what you get is you get people who turn to sexual deviancy to fulfill their desires and urges. And you get those people who are more willing to serve in a openly celibate capacity than those who wish to be married and who do not wish to be openly celibate. Now, openly celibate obviously means behind closed doors they're doing crap like this. Just say this is. Well, I'm not going to get into the gay thing and how pervasive it can possibly be, but this is not something that is limited to the Catholic Church. By far, it is not. I mean, every major group or religion has, well, not every, but most major groups have their issues with this, with deviant not just homosexuality, deviant homosexuality. This is deviant. This is not what you might construe to be normal behavior. Islam has its deviant sexual, homosexual community. The Protestants have it. Have their we've seen it. So it's not just about the only ones you don't really see. Possibly would be Buddhist. Yes, there's even been accusations of Hindu sexual deviancy. The only ones I've heard of there hasn't been any sexual deviancy is Buddhist. I don't know. Just saying. When it comes to major world religions like that, it would be paganism, Wiccanism. They all have their sexual deviancy, and it's all well documented and well known. The only one that I don't know about would be Buddhism. To tell you the truth. So it's pervasive. I mean, hell, we got people that accuse Hollywood in Washington, D.C. of being the centers of American sexual deviancy and child sexual trafficking and all. And there's some truth to those. I mean, we get child stars and former child stars that come out of the closet all the time and tell us what happened to them as kids. And we start to understand why some of these stars are child stars grow up to be messed up. The two Coreys, for instance, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman has been very open about his stories, especially with his friend, Corey Haim. Now, Corey Haim was, as a kid, he was a teenager. He was a teenage heartthrob. Well, evidently, he was passed around in Hollywood like a little harlot. I don't know. What do you call a male harlot? A harletan? I don't know. But it messed him up. And this is what goes. This is why I say I don't know why parents want to enter their kids. I mean, there are people. Well, the Home Alone star Macaulay Culkin. There are people that say Macaulay was abused. He tends to deny it, but he also doesn't want to talk about it, which means his denial is not exactly truthful. There's something that went on in that kid's childhood that he just does not want to discuss. And you can't blame him. But this is not something that is new or different. So for people to be shocked and surprised, I'm not shocked and surprised by this. When it comes to the reality of what's going on. And it is happening because, to a certain degree, we who are not sexual deviants allow this to happen. We do allow this to happen quite often. And so we're not going to be able to put up with this anymore. I'm not exactly sure what the answer to this is, but it really needs to be taken care of. But I'm not exactly sure, but we'll take a break here and we'll get back to you. We'll be right back in about 3 minutes. Hold on, folks, we're not done yet.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
(603-835-3226). Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Let us go now to the tribute for this morning here on the Rod Eccles Show. Let's get to, let's do what we're supposed to do here. This morning's tribute comes from the family of one John Bates. John Bates, his rank was Senior Master Sergeant, United States Air Force. He was born March of 1965. His date of service began August 1983. His end of watch was October 2014. And his family writes, John was the only child of William and Melinda Bates. William Bates was a career military man serving 22 years in the United States Air Force. John sought to follow in his father's footsteps and entered the United States Air Force a few months after graduating high school in 1983. John also graduated in the top 10% of his class. He was an accomplished musician as well, able to play the violin, piano, and guitar. In fact, John was a member of the USAF bass orchestras that often played at special events on and near their bases and immediate surrounding communities. John served at bases both here, the Middle East, and in Asia. He loved aircraft, and his main focus during much of his time serving was in supply and munitions for aircraft. Although John had a long and full career in the USAF, his time on this earth was cut short when he succumbed to lymph node cancer in October of 2014. John is survived by his wife, Janet, John and Janet Bates. That's cute. His high school sweetheart, and their 4 children. And continuing the family tradition, John's eldest son, Paul, has also entered and is currently serving in the United States Air Force. His youngest child, daughter, Angela, plans on entering the United States Air Force upon her graduation from high school in 2018. Again, that is the story of John Bates, Senior Master Sergeant, United States Air Force. We thank you for your service, sir. Thank you again, Senior Master Sergeant Bates. There seems to be a trend here, I've noticed. A number of these wonderful men and women who served are succumbing to cancer. Is there something going on in our military where our men and women are being exposed to cancer-causing agents? I don't know. I mean, I know that we've had, they did experiments on our men and women when it came to the nuclear testing way back in the day. And we do know that Agent Orange, for those people who served in Vietnam, has been a bane. But just ordinary duty service, I have not looked into this. I do not know if this is accurate. It just seems to me that there seem to be a lot of men and women tributes coming through whose lives were cut short, not by war, but by cancer. And in this particular case, Sergeant John Bates succumbed to lymph node cancer. That's awful stuff, man. Just awful stuff. And it probably has a lot to do with the chemicals and munition stuff that was used in order to keep everybody safe. But yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. Thank you for your service, Sergeant Bates. We'll be back. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us,
after this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
(835) Welcome back. You know, one of the things I found interesting during researching for this morning's program is I came across that there is a, we have wonderful, robust, steady job growth in this country under Trump. Now understand that this uptick did not start with the Donald. There was some job growth under Obama. It wasn't much, but it was still starting to point at things were starting to turn around. And, of course, after when people started believing and understood, well, everybody except for the leftist media, started believing that Donald Trump had a chance to win. And then when he did win, the election came and businesses started to feel more and more positive and add more and more jobs. Now, last month, we've got this CNBC. Well, this month actually, they're reporting last month's numbers from CNBC. They're trying to downplay this wonderful growth in jobs, which was 158,000 in the private sector last month. But according to CNBC, that missed the mark of an expected 185,000. So 158,000 new jobs in the private sector were created in June versus the expected 185,000 jobs. Now, at first glance, you might say, well, they missed the mark. You know, the economy isn't doing as well as it possibly could. To understand, there are some states, like here in my state, there are some states that have unemployment rates below 5% now. And they have U6 rates, which are below 7%. Now, when you start getting to the 6 and 7% and below mark, you're starting to approach full employment, meaning that when you get to the so-called full employment, everybody who actually wants a job either has a job or can get a job. So we've been there before. There was a point in the 80s and under Reagan. There was a point under W. Bush where we had full employment, where the unemployment rate was, depending on your state, was as low as 3.5%. It was getting to the point where employers would just, anybody who walked through the door, it didn't matter what they looked like, sounded like, or how educated or ill-educated they were hired. Because there was nobody else, because everybody was working. So we're heading back to, and that's a good thing, by the way, and there was still no inflation back then, and there isn't any inflation now. But the problem today isn't that we've gotten to the point where we are full, political employment, but it goes along with this story from Axios. Now, first of all, let me get to read you this part from CNBC. Job creation in the private sector tailed off significantly in June, in another sign that the economy is getting closer to full employment, according to a report Thursday from ADP and Moody's Analytics. Now, companies added 158,000 positions for the month of June, a number that economists who released the report said was still strong, but well below the robust 230,000 number the report showed in May. Now, the reading also was considerably below the 185,000 gain that economists surveyed by Reuters expected, and was revised lower from the initial 253,000 count. simply because they're saying now, well, lots of people have jobs, and so there's not a lot of candidates out there. The job market continues to power forward, however, said Moody Analytics chief economist Mark Zandi. At this pace, which is double the rate of labor force growth, the tight labor market will continue to get tighter. Now, why is it getting tighter all of a sudden? Because we don't have enough people here in the States already? Do we need to import people? Well, according to Axios, not so fast. Axios.com. Young American men can find work but prefer to play video games. This is their headline in their story. 20-something men are working many fewer hours than they did a decade and a half ago, according to a new study, according to Axios. And the biggest reason is that they prefer to play video games. Now, I have said this, that we've got a generation that have taken what their baby boomer parents have done. The baby boomer parents don't want to grow old. And they want to be young forever. The baby boomers have spawned all of this anti-aging stuff that we have out there. Now, the millennial generation, they've taken that a step further. It's not that they don't want to grow old. They just don't want to grow up. They don't. And they sound it. If you listen, this is why I have a hard time speaking to a Gen Xer or not a Gen Xer, a millennial. Because their speech pattern, it's like I'm talking to a 12-year-old. And they're 30 years old. And frankly, folks, it's even starting to show up in the news and how they talk. In their cadence and their pronunciations, it is so ridiculously childish. And these people are, the leading edge of the millennials are now, what, 35? 36? 37? You gads. Millennials, what, 80, 81 is when it started? Oh, boy. So they're approaching, they're quickly becoming those who are running the world, or running this country. I mean, they're almost 40, the leading edge. Yeah, I didn't really think of that until now, so now that makes me depressed. But they don't want to grow up. And here's a story. Men aged 21 to 30 worked 12% fewer hours in 2015 than they did in the year 2000, according to the study published Monday by the National Bureau of Economic Research. And about half the reason is the time they spend playing video games. I mean, these people, they play games on their phones. They don't get off their damn phones long enough to do anything else. No, seriously. They're hooked on games. They just won't. Now, I realize that video games can be fun. I play a few game apps. It's 3 to be exact on my iPad. But I also know when it's time to work, I put the games aside. They have to wait. But that's the difference between Gen Xers and even baby boomers and the millennials. Millennials don't know when, they're like kids still. They don't know when to, and frankly, it is the baby boomers generation. Most of them, they're the parents of the millennials. It is mostly their fault because they did not teach their kids how to be more grown up and responsible. Everything was handed to them. So they don't get it. There's a time for games and a time for work. Now, why does this matter? Well, the results suggest that reduced work for prime age men is not just or even mostly because they can't find jobs or sufficient hours. It's rather than accept what is out there, they choose the contemporary equivalent of hanging out at the pool hall or the racetrack. In fact, in 2015, roughly 15% of young men worked 0 weeks over the year, nearly double the rate from 2000. So this whole thing that the reality is that these millennials really are hanging out in their parents' basements playing video games. That is the reality. That's just not a saying. We're not just saying it. That is real. So, folks, I'm telling you right now, if you're under the sound of my voice and you have a millennial child, note that the jobs are out there now. Jobs that they complained about were not there under Obama, but now are there. Remember Occupy Wall Street? They were all complaining, well, there are no jobs for us when we graduate college. Well, now they're there. There are jobs there. And these kids are refusing to get up off their duffs out of their parents' basement. So it has to come from the parent now. The parent has to say, hey, little Johnny, you got to get off your ass and go get a job, son, now. Put down the video game, go get a job, and get the hell out of my basement. It's time for you to grow up. And until parents start doing that all across this country, we're going to continue to see this. 21 to 30? I mean, this is... Do you realize that you build your career in your 20s? You build your wealth in your 30s. You build your career in your 20s, and these kids are throwing away in other words, they're going to be behind. So when their parents start dying and they actually have to live on their own, well, that's when, in their 30s and 40s, that's when they're going to start building their careers. Well, that's too damn late. That's going to be too late for many of them. You set the base and you build your career in your 20s. That's what everybody goes to college for. Maybe even if you don't get the job that you went to school for, you still try to establish a base for your career in your 20s. Once you get that experience a little bit of experience under your belt, real work history under your belt, in your 30s, then you start to build your wealth. And how do you do that? By climbing the ladder, if you will, corporate ladder, or increasing your earnings potential and increasing your salaries in your 30s. That's when you start building that's the time that people start thinking about settling down, buying a house, starting a family, really start their Roth IRA, their 401ks, what have you, retirement plan. That's when you start to build wealth. And you continue to build that wealth through your 40s. In your 50s, you start thinking about retirement. But you've got to have that base first. And there are many people that don't have that base in their 20s now because they're too busy playing video games instead of going out there and finding a job to start their careers, to start their life. Here's a story right here. A lot more men in this age group, 21 to 30, are living with their parents or some other close relative. 35% of them in 2015 compared with only 23% in 2000, compared with a reported 18% in 1980. Really? But according to this survey, they're not unhappy or aimless, according to Eric Hurst, one of the paper's authors. Their attitude, he tells the Times, maybe, why not have a little fun in your 20s and work in your 80s? Because you're probably not going to be around in your 80s. By the way, there's another story here I had that the millennial generation is the first generation in many generations that, well, where is that story in the paper pile? The millennials are actually expected to have a shorter lifespan than their parents. So that means you're not even going to live in your 80s. Millennials. You're not. And part of that reason, well, believe it or not, millennials also have poorer hygiene, personal hygiene, than previous generations. You believe that? Well, I believe it. Just look at them. And so part of the problem is they're I don't know. I'm a Generation Xer, so somehow I believe that I'm going to be paying for healthcare costs for myself as I age, as well as millennials, because they don't particularly care about their personal hygiene. And personal hygiene has everything to do with the health. So we're starting to see millennials are coming up with diseases that their parents and Generation X didn't see. You know, for instance, syphilis, thought to be nearly dead among Gen Xers, is quietly coming back among millennials. I'm just saying, just one of those things. Their hygiene is much poorer. And again, you parents, you know this. You're letting your kid do this to themselves. You don't teach them any discipline. I'm sorry. It's just it's time for little Johnny and little Susie to fly the coop, get out of the house, find a job, and learn how to take care of themselves. Or this stuff is going to get worse.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people. You suck.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
brothers and sisters to the north are fighting for their very gender lives. Yesterday, I brought to you a story about a Canadian woman who is a transgendered man who has a picture of him breastfeeding his baby. Yeah, she's taking hormones. She's got facial hair now because she's taking male hormones and she's growing facial hair, but she's still, just recently gave birth to a child. Don't know if it's a male or female, because the whole point was that she wanted the child to be genderless and let the child grow up and decide what gender they want it to be. Well, evidently, in Canada, according to CNN Canada, a Canadian baby has been issued a health document that doesn't specify male or female in what campaigners are claiming is a possible world first. Now, Cyril Atlee Doty, Searyl, Atlee, A-T-L-I, Doty, D-O-T-Y, was born in British Columbia outside the medical system and did not undergo a genital inspection after birth. Campaign group Gender Free ID Coalition said in a statement, the group's vision, stated on its website, is to remove all gender sex designations from identity documents. Now, I went to this so-called Gender Free ID Coalition, and right there on their website, page 1, is their stated goal is to end state-assigned gender. Slogan is, the state has no business in the undies of the nation. I kid you not. Their vision is to remove all gender sex designation from identity documents. Yes, because the problem that they say is everybody's gendered identification starts with a birth certificate. The state ascribes a sex gender marker at birth and then certifies that gender. But no one knows a baby's gender at birth, since gender identity takes years to be known. So the state is what? Either you have a penis or a vagina. That's what your gender is. Your DNA says you have either XY or XX chromosomes. That states your gender. In rare cases, you get people who have both. But at some point in time, they have to decide whether they're going to be one or the other, and usually DNA rules the day on that one. The doctor will say, well, your kid's got both sexual organs, but, they're really more this or more this sex or that sex, and they should probably grow up to be that. And the parents will say, okay, then make it so. But those are rare. So now we're... They're going to confuse the hell out of kids now by saying, well, you can be anything you want. You can be, if you're a boy, well, you can be a girl. Well, I'm a girl. Well, you're not a girl. You're not a female. We have male and female. Those are the only two genders. This is getting insane, and this is due to all this trans. At some point, we're going to get to a point in society, I pray to God, that we're able to treat this sort of mental disorder and cure people of it. I'm sorry. I've seen it happen personally. I believe there's something mentally wrong with transgenders. If they honestly think that they are the opposite sex trapped inside their current birth sex, there's something mentally wrong with them. I'm not a mental professional, but that is my layman's opinion, because this is not normal or natural. Now, that's just it. This is not normal or natural. You're screwing people up.
Today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for a beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now, there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you got to get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition,
First thing I thought of was, who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me? My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. Rod Eccles.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. The fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show. Welcome back. Thank you for being here on this Thursday morning, July number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number this morning, should you wish to utilize yourself of that. It is, it's been an amazing week, has it not? I mean, well, just referring to all this CNN stuff is just... It's amazing stuff out there. I mean, CNN is just self-imploding. However, there is some new information out there that could mean that Han Asshole Solo may not have been the original creator and poster of the CNN logo WWE beatdown a video GIF. That is being, that CNN was so despondent about, and they went looking for this guy. So he may not be the actual person who actually created it, and there are people out there who are taking. There are people out there that can take this stuff apart, backwards, forwards, sideways, up, upside down, inside out, and tell you exactly, you know, the origins of these things. And, you know, they could tell you the camera that was used to film it. They could tell you the aspect ratio and what computer editing software is used to. I don't know how they figure all that stuff out, but evidently all that stuff leaves, you know, digital fingerprints. So they're able to figure all that stuff out. And then there are people out there who are, I guess it's that important to them. They're starting to figure out, well, it is possible that Han Asshole Solo, who is originally being credited with this, who mysteriously decided to apologize for the video so quickly after CNN supposedly found out who they were. Now, this is amazing. CNN says, well, we're not going to dox you or release your information since you apologize. And if you never do this again, and Han Asshole Solo is saying, well, I'll never do it again. I'll never do it. I promise, never to CNN. And he's got this long trail of being a racist, bigoted, homophobic a-hole, basically. And so this is the guy that supposedly did the video, the anti-CNN video. Well, not so fast, according to... I know this is... Well, I always try to... It's one of those... It's when you go to other sites, it's feeding off of one site that you don't particularly like. But then when you do try to check the veracity of it, you find that the story is possibly and plausibly true. And this comes out of ageofshitlords.com, and I do not recommend that you go there. It's like a BuzzFeed, really. I mean, it's just loaded with spamware and pop-ups and that kind of garbage. It's a pain in the ass. I don't recommend that you... And I have anti-pop-up software on my computer, and the software still pops up, or that stuff still pops up. So I don't recommend... you'll be able to find the link on the Facebook page, but I wouldn't recommend that you would go there simply because it's like a BuzzFeed. It's just... I hate going to BuzzFeed. Get all kinds of crap at BuzzFeed. But they did some investigating. And I found that that they are quite accurate, believe it or not. And so what they found out suggests that CNN doxed the wrong person. Now, if this is true, CNN doxed the wrong person on purpose. But what they don't realize is that you had a number of people who have come out and said that CNN could have most likely what CNN did, how they did it, and the way they say they did it, broke the law, which could put CNN in a whole different category of trouble. Now understand that in the state of New York, they probably will not be prosecuted if they actually did break the law. But the problem is that not only did they possibly break the state of New York law, but because that's they have a headquarters in New York, but also in Atlanta, Georgia, where they're headquartered, they possibly broke Georgia law, which is similar to New York law, and they possibly broke federal law when it comes to this kind of thing. And knowing the one thing you don't want to do is be CNN and possibly break the law on the Fed side during the Trump administration, because who's going to come after you? I know. I mean, it's just the stupidity is strong in CNN. It really is. So they may, but did they really break the law if they got the wrong person? If Hans Asshole Solo is actually not the person, and he's just a minion of CNN? Well, there are people that are saying that this guy is that this Reddit user is nothing more than a CNN plant. I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put it past the left at all, and we know what CNN is like. We've had, inside, Project Veritas. O'Keefe is just wonderful when it comes to this kind of thing, and he and his people have been able to get inside to many organizations and actually video and record what these people are really like. And, we have people inside CNN that don't like many of the, especially Chris Cuomo, they don't like the on-air talent. It's amazing. So if you have people who are willing to backstab people like this when they think they're not being watched, then you got to. They're liable to if they're going to backstab somebody. Even Chris Cuomo, if they're going to stab Chris Cuomo in the back, every chance they get, then these people are capable of doing just about anything. I had a conversation about this with my mother recently, and we were talking about Donald Trump. She's not a Donald Trump fan. But no, trust me, folks. My mother cannot stand Hillary Clinton. Oh, no. She can, don't even get her started on Hillary Clinton, man. Whoa. But she really doesn't like Donald Trump either. But, we were talking about this kind of thing, and she says, it's just ridiculous that we can't even get the truth out of people anymore. I'm like, well, what do you mean? She says, I can't even stand watching the news. I mean, I got to watch the news for the local stuff because that's the only reason I watch it. And they get on this national stuff, and all it does is make me mad. Because nobody wants to tell the truth anymore. I said, well, yeah, let's face it, we don't have a Walter Cronkite anymore. She goes, you got that right. My mother's a big Walter Cronkite fan, as many Americans were back in the day. But the most trusted man in America, most trusted man who ever lived and sat in front of a camera delivering the news was Walter Cronkite. That's the way it is. And well, I mean, to some degree that was true. I mean, I know Walter Cronkite was a big liberal back in his day. But people trusted Walter Cronkite to tell them the truth, although he didn't always give them the entire truth. He pick and choose, and they had when you only had 3 or 4 networks back then, they could get away with that. But by today's standards, there's nobody who has the caliber of Walter Cronkite, who calls themselves a journalist. And I know some people are saying, well, Sean Hannity. No. Sean Hannity says that he is not a journalist. Sean Hannity, calls himself a commentator. So he's not a journalist. So there's a difference. A journalist will tell you the news. And they'll dig to find the facts. That's what a journalist does. A commentator takes we'll dig to find facts too, but we'll take those facts and we'll comment on them, not report them. That's our job. We're here to comment, give our comments on the news of the day, or the past, or what's coming up in the future. And we may dig to find the truth. We often do. But we don't pretend to be non-biased. Oh, hell no! I'm extremely conservative leaning, and that's why I'm a commentator. I'm not going to pretend to be a journalist and say, well, I'm non-biased. That's a bunch of BS. So this guy Hans Asshole Solo obviously at first glance seems to be very biased, which makes you scratch your head. And a lot of people are saying, well, geez, how did CNN find him so fast? I don't think it's that hard if you know what you're doing in this type of thing. But now there's somebody out there who's out there saying that maybe he wasn't the first person to do this, and he actually gypped the video from somebody else. And they're saying that what Trump tweeted wasn't actually Han Asshole Solo's GIF. So there were 2 GIFs out there. And the one that Trump tweeted was not Han's GIF. And again, well, if you look at these things closely, you can see that there is a difference between what Trump tweeted and what Hans tweeted. Or posted up on Reddit. They are different. They're the same, but they're different, which is quite interesting. But obviously the whole story now is that CNN warns that it may expose the anonymous critic Hans Asshole Solo if he ever does such a thing again. whatever bad content is to CNN, I guess. So he's probably going to have to, which is why I think that he's a plant. Who's going to have this kind of history that this Hans guy has, being so adamant and so opinionated, and then all of a sudden, well, I mean, I realize that bigots tend to be cowards, but, you know, the people like this don't tend to shut up too easily. So all of a sudden now he's going to shut up and go away? Well, he'll probably resurface as somebody else. Well, they're going to be able to know who that is. This is why at first I'm like, well, they found it and they're blackmailing him, but then I'm like, wait, something doesn't add up. Something kind of stinks here. And knowing CNN wouldn't put it past them if they tried to foist something upon us and tried to trick us into thinking that they got the upper hand on somebody. It might, who knows? This might be a fake track down. More fake news from CNN. Who knows? Wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Zero 3-835-3226. Welcome back. We've got to get to today's holidays. Yes, today's holidays. A list of today's holidays are, today is, if you've seen the hashtag on Twitter, it is actually National Fried Chicken Day. Yeah. It's National Fried Chicken Day. So today is I don't know. Do you go to Church's Fried Chicken? Do you go to KFC? Do you go to where do you go to get your fried chicken today? Do you make it at home? Yeah, you probably should make it at home if you really want some good fried chicken. Or well, I guess I don't think I've ever had Church's Fried Chicken, to tell you the truth. Now, for me personally, KFC is not what it used to be when it comes to in the fried chicken category. I don't know. Maybe they've changed the recipe, the Colonel's recipe or something. I don't know, but it does not taste like I remember it from long ago. Now, it could be the exact same. Maybe it's the chicken itself. I don't know. Maybe it's the same recipe. For whatever reason, it doesn't taste the same to me. It may to you, and that's fine. I've never had Church's Fried Chicken, but I understand that that's very good stuff. And there's other places that have wonderful. You have these broasted chicken places, and you have there's a place here in Concord that's relatively new. They have great fried chicken. It's right next door to my favorite cigar shop. So if you're ever in town, look for Castro Cigars, and then get yourself a cigar. But don't smoke the cigar. Go next door to get yourself a fried chicken. Have a good meal, and then smoke your cigar. You'll be happy. And if you go down to the corner on that same street, you can go to Cheers, which is a restaurant bar, and they have some great cocktails in that bar, Cheers. So it's not the real Cheers, no, but don't ask. So right in that one street, and you can go out, they have a patio in the summer, so you can get yourself a cocktail and probably smoke it. I don't know if you can smoke on the patio or not, maybe. Or you could just get, BYO, bring your own booze back up to Castro's and smoke inside, because they have a pool table in the back and lounge and a big screen TV, and you can watch the games and guys do and all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, it is also National Air Traffic Control Day. I don't think you can take fried chicken up into the control tower, but it is National Air Traffic Control Day. So say thank you to your closest air traffic controller. Today is also Take Your Webmaster to Lunch Day, which you should be able to do in about a half hour or so. If you have a webmaster. I don't have a full-time webmaster, so I'm not taking him to lunch. But you could today is Take Your Webmaster to Lunch Day. Watch, you'll probably crash my site now. It's also Umbrella Cover Day. Not Umbrella Day, Umbrella Cover. Now, I couldn't find any real information about that, so I'm not exactly sure what that means. Is it the actual cover of the umbrella, or is it to be covered by an umbrella? But you decide for yourself what that means. It's Umbrella Cover Day. In the middle of summer, no rain. I guess what they didn't call those umbrellas if you use them in the sun. What are they called? Parasols? And guys don't walk around with parasols. Well, unless they're a transgendered woman, I guess. I don't know. I'm surprised. When is Transgender Day? I don't know. Well, I'm sure it'll come up. It is, speaking of genders, it is International Kissing Day. Yes, today is International Kissing Day. And you should find somebody with whom you can celebrate this international holiday with. Preferably somebody who is of the opposite birth sex that you are. And they also agree to be the... I can just see this now on dating. Dating is going to get more specific on these dating apps and dating sites. It's straight man in search of straight woman type of. Now you're going to have to say, I don't know how they're going to be able to put this. I mean, how do you, if you don't decide what gender you are, if you're just up in the air, how do you date? So, straight male at birth seeks straight female at birth. Oh, geez, this is almost enough to make you want to give up dating. I don't know how you. Well, you think this is this is half facetious, guys, but this is really starting to bite into everyday life. When you don't even know who you're talking to anymore, if you want to get romantically involved with somebody, you're not even going to know. And if you do set such specifics, are you going to be construed as being bigoted and close-minded? Think about that for a second. You don't want to. You're a man, straight man, who doesn't want to date a transgendered woman. You want to date a real woman. Will you be construed as being a bigoted, closed-minded a-hole? Probably.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
603-835-3226. It is now time for the weekly military report. And I do this because I want to make sure that our military personnel, they get some information that they may not get elsewhere. Now, this is not something that's really inside type of stuff, but it's important stuff. And this is from themilitarytimes.com. The motorcycle group Rolling Thunder turns 30 this year. Yeah, these are guys that get on motorcycles. You know, most of them are American made, like Harleys and Buells, and they ride around in support of military personnel, active duty, and a lot of these guys are on Rolling Thunder are former military personnel themselves. It's 30 years old now. They've been doing this for 30 years now. Rolling Thunder, a young Marine, it got started because these motorcyclists, these riders, were seeing how poorly military personnel, both active duty and past duty, how poorly they were being treated. And they wanted to show that they too, even though some of them may not have actually served, but most of them have served. These are former military people. And I know if you look at them, they all look like they're the atypical Harley biker. They don't look like they ever could have been in the military. But you understand, that's just who the military is made up of. Although extraordinary, they're just average, everyday people. And they once their duty of service or service of duty is over, they can grow beards and turn gray and get gray hair and get tattoos and wear all the Harley leather insignia, all that kind of stuff. They're just regular people. So Rolling Thunder is now turning 30 this year. And want to thank all these guys. They may be coming, through a town near you. There are a number of different chapters across the country right now. They even do things as well as saluting our men and women in service, but they also offer and give rider safety tips. They're a good activist group. They support veterans' rights and benefits. They do a number of different things, and they support a number of different causes that are dear and true to the veteran's heart. So happy birthday or anniversary to Rolling Thunder, turning 30 this year. Military Times is reporting that expanded military retiree tax breaks approved by North Carolina Senate is all but a done deal. Senators want to give a state income tax break to more North Carolina military vets on retirement pay or benefits received by surviving family members. The state Senate voted yesterday to expand how many income tax filers can deduct military pensions or survivorship benefits. A court settlement during the 1990s already gives that break to retirees who served in the military for at least 5 years prior to August 1989. Supporters of expanding the deduction say it will make North Carolina more attractive to service members. Such advantages also could favor military installations in eastern North Carolina during the next round of base closings. We don't need to close any more bases, by the way. We don't. We're already understaffed now. We don't need to close any more bases. I'm just going to put that out there. And this whole notion that we have all these joint bases now, where more than one branch of the military is serving on that particular base. If there's a duality or commonality between the service, i.e. Navy and Marines, i.e. Army, Air Force, I get it. But to have dissimilar services served, I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, why the hell would a Navy or Marine base be located on an Air Force base? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, especially when we have this trilateral system of armed forces such as we do. And that's for a good reason, because it works. It works very well. There are three separate legs to the same stool, yes. But, and I know there are times that they have to coordinate together, and they do. But for the most part, because their profession is quite different. And keep in mind, the Navy really, via aircraft carriers, does have its own Air Force to a certain degree. So this allows now the House would still have to the North Carolina House would still have to approve the tax break, which legislative staff estimated could cost state coffers up to $32 million annually within 5 years. I know you got to figure out, well, how are we going to pay for it? Well, you don't pay for it because you're not paying for it in the first place. This is the whole asinine belief that we've gotten to this point that we somehow got to pay for tax cuts. No, we don't, because we're paying for it anyway. It means you stop spending as much. That's how you pay for it. Stupid liberals. But it's a good idea to give these people a bigger... they don't earn a whole hell of a lot of money anyway, especially in the lower ranks. And especially enlisted personnel. I mean, even when you get up in the ranks in the enlisted personnel, they're still not earning a whole hell of a lot compared to their civilian counterpart. But by the same token, if they were to go into other government services based on what they were doing in the military, if there was a civilian equivalent, the government earns almost twice as much as their civilian counterpart. But the military, believe it or not, earns anywhere from a half to a third as much. It's going in the wrong direction when you're in the military. This is so giving them, extra tax breaks or what have you, so they get to keep more of their own money is a good thing, because they're not making a whole hell of a lot to begin with. I mean, it's why a lot of military personnel get out of the military and become cops, because they actually make twice as much as being a police officer as they did being in the military. I'm not saying that cops should get paid less. I'm just saying that we need to pay our military personnel more, because we can't keep good, qualified people for too long. You can't be a family of four in your 20s and early 30s and be on food stamps when you're working as hard and as long as you do in the military. I mean, you just can't do that. That's wrong. That we'd pay them so little that would be necessary. Just saying. And that is today's military report. Zuckerberg. This from Mark Zuckerberg from CNBC. He again defends and doubles down on his government giving people free money, and he goes to Alaska to make his case. This is the most asinine thing I have ever heard Mark Zuckerberg talk about. Is this so-called minimum universal income garbage? And he's using Alaska to explain his form of universal basic income, and he's talking about how it works in Alaska. Now, he doesn't address any deficits that Alaska faces. However, the governor's call to, or the governor's call in Alaska to increase taxes, he also uses his company as grounds to argue in favor of a basic income for individuals based on, if he didn't have another source of income, or if Facebook didn't turn out right for him, he'd be okay, admitting that, his family would have taken care of him. I don't know if his family would have taken care of him or not, but that's what he claims. He would have been okay. But following his trip to Alaska, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, recently wrote a blog post defending yet again the idea of establishing a form of basic income in the USA. Now, the problem is that he's looking at this Alaska thing. He says, well, if you're in Alaska and you're an eligible resident, you got $1,022 last year. So a household of two people, eligible people, they got $2,000. The problem is it didn't come from the tax base. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Alaska has this Alaska's Permanent Fund Dividend, which pools money from the state's oil revenue and returns it to residents at the end of the year. In 2016, that dividend amounted to $1,022 per eligible resident, or an average of just over $2,000 for a household. So you got $2,000 for doing nothing because you lived in Alaska and you were one of the legal residents of Alaska. Great, that's only $2,000 though. Even in Alaska, you can't live on $2,000 a year. That's just not going to cut it. Even if you're homesteading, I guess you still need supply. Well, I guess if you're doing the full homestead thing out in the middle of the wilderness, then you may be able to get by with $2,000. But I don't know who the hell wants to live like that. Now, I'm not talking about homesteading like some of these reality TV shows, like the Kilchers and the the Browns in the Alaska Bush people. Is their name Brown? Now, that's a hard argument to say that they are living a homesteader's lifestyle. I mean, that's I've watched Alaska: The Last Frontier with the Kilcher clan. That's Jewel, the singer Jewel's family. It's hard to say that you're living a true homesteader lifestyle when you have a barge and numerous pieces of heavy construction equipment like backhoes and tractors. Every homesteader has access to that kind of stuff, I guess. I don't know. But I'm not saying that they have an easy lifestyle. If you can do that, that's great. I guess they're wealthy homesteaders, I suppose. I also had speaking of the Kilchers, this long time ago, I had a story about the youngest one. He went to college, and I guess he's trying to follow slightly in the footsteps of his cousin, Jewel. What is his name? August. Here's a picture of him here. He's a redhead, and he's going to college in, is it Dakotas or Montana? In any case, he's one of his two majors is in theater. And the question was raised, what do you do when you're looking for a mate? And the question was, I don't know the answer. I'm not even sure if you should even ask the question on air, but the question was asked. Well, it's already out there. Is August Kilcher gay? I have no idea. Tell you the truth. I don't really care, but that's... you know, they will try to make people be something that they're not just to fit their agenda. Just so you know. And this is the same thing with Zuckerberg here. You're talking about, well, look what they do in Alaska. Well, they don't do it. The money doesn't come from the taxpayer directly. It comes from the oil revenues that the state charges for producing producers who extract oil from within the borders of the state of Alaska. So it really isn't being paid by the taxpayer, so not in the way that we're used to. I mean, granted, I understand businesses don't pay taxes. Every single consumer pays all the taxes of businesses. I get that, but that's in an indirect manner. I'm talking directly. You're not filing a tax to be utilized and put into a fund to be paid back out to people, because it wouldn't work that way. It's all based on the revenue that they get from oil companies. And Zuckerberg fails to understand that. And he fails to understand it on purpose because this is what he wants. He thinks everybody should get, a minimum basic universal income, whatever that should be. I don't know. Does it need to be a living wage so people can try other things? Because $2,000 a year is not going to relieve you of any obligations or anything for most people. It's still going to be a tough life, below poverty. So what is the universal base? Is it going to be 15 grand, 20 grand? Maybe the so-called $15 an hour living wage, which is 30 grand a year? Is that what it's got to be? This is all asinine. What you're going to have is what we already have and what we've seen from the previous report this morning about all those young men in their 20s who could get a real job because they're available now, but they'd rather stay home and play video games. Well, of course, there are many video games on the Facebook platform, and we all know that Zuckerberg wants people to only utilize Facebook as their main online platform. Forget Google, just go through Facebook.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong. And any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hayrite.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
There's a couple of acronyms that fit this story. If looks could kill, I guess looks can kill, and there is such a thing as being too good looking, to take a pull quote from the movie Zoolander. One can be ridiculously good looking. This is out of Iraq, evidently. And this is, again, the whole notion and barbarism of Islam, folks. An Iraqi male model is brutally killed in Baghdad because of his good looks. And they have a picture of this guy. And I got to tell you, coming from another guy, he's a good-looking young man, or at least he was a good-looking young man. But he colored his hair. And his hair was long, so he looked, the hairstyle of. Remember, you women remember I can't believe it's not butter commercials with, what's his name, Fabio? Is that who it was? I don't know. Or personally, I never found Fabio to be all that good looking, but a lot of women did. So, but they're gonna find this guy to be good looking. If you thought Fabio was good looking, you're gonna find this guy to be gorgeous, or at least he was before he was murdered. Why was he murdered? Because he had long hair and he dressed too nicely. Well, he was a male model and trying to be an actor and trying to get the hell out of Baghdad, evidently. Karar Nushi, Nushi, he was studying at the Institute of Fine Arts in Baghdad, and evidently he was receiving death threats, according to his friends on Facebook. Karar, K-A-R-A-R, was found dead in Baghdad after reportedly receiving death threats over his long hair and supposedly tight-fitting clothes. Now, I thought that you couldn't do that if you were a woman. I thought it was okay if you were a guy. Now, the Institute of Fine Arts student, who was also an actor and a model, was found covered in stab wounds just north of the capital. According to Iraqi news, his body reportedly showed signs of torture. Now, friends of the actor said on social media they believed he was killed by radical Islamists because of the way he dressed, his long hair, and his friendship with female actors. Mr. Nushi was a Shia Muslim and was said to be preparing for a male beauty pageant before his death. So evidently your looks can kill you, or better yet, your looks can get you killed if you're in the Middle East. A sad story there. Definitely a sad story. That's too bad. But this is the barbarism of that religion, folks. It really is. You can't deny it. You cannot deny it. In any case, that sound means that we're out of time for today, but we'll be back in about 21 hours. Tomorrow is just happenstance. It is a Freedom Friday open mic. Just about anything goes. Plus, we may have a visit from the Rev Rod, so you're definitely going to tell your friends to tune in tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful Thursday afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.